I thought you could use another Tracer VOD.
Psychopath.
No.
Okay, I see how it is.
Um, no, I mean, I liked your content. I thought it would be fun.
Sure.
Um, I also, I think games are generally more fun if you're like sort of understand them better.
Yeah.
The people at the top are usually having more fun, I find. So
Sure. Fair enough. Until you get to the very top, then it starts to
yeah, yeah.
inverse. You know. Okay. Doomfist, Tank, DPS, Tracer, Ash, Sojourn, support, Ana, not really playing support in season 12, and you're hovering around high plat, low diamond, depending on role. So, how long have you been an Overwatch player?
Oh, I've played on and off since the open beta 2016.
Okay.
I think I've got about 1,200 hours on the game, between, main account, alt account kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, definitely did not play like 8 years straight.
Sure. Just off and on. When you came back most recently, when was that?
Like mid season 10.
Okay. And what got you
So,
back? And what
well, I
got you
built
to
a new,
stay?
well, I built a new computer this past summer, and
Mm-hmm.
I was going to get into Valorant, and then a friend of mine was like, "No, no, no, I'll play Overwatch again if you want to play." And I was like, "Okay, sure. We already know that game. Let's get back into it." Um, and the you didn't need to grind the battle pass for the new characters anymore, so that kind of turned me
Ah.
off of Overwatch too. If I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
more
Okay.
so
Yeah.
than 5v5.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, welcome back. Um, and looking at goals here, just continue to have fun improving, which I am so far. So for you, I want to check up on how I'm applying concepts like angles and fighting with the team. Tracer micro and map specific questions answered. Having this coaching session on the horizon will motivate me to try harder and play more solo queue games. Was your theory correct?
Somewhat. I definitely played. I'd say right now I'm maybe like 70-30 group play solo.
Yeah,
Um, and part of that is just like time. Like I teach at a college. I've got full-time job, so sometimes it's
yeah,
like, oh, it's time. I have some time to play. Oh, but friends are on, so that
yeah.
sometimes takes over. But
Okay,
I do some solo queue.
okay.
I've
Makes sense.
found I found I can focus on some of the skills I'm practicing in group play, not as
Sure.
much other.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough. And goal would be to like maybe hit masters with the role eventually.
Yeah, I mean, because I've been diamond in various spots. Masters is like the next high score, right? So,
Yeah. Okay.
um,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Feel things that are holding you back. Tracer mechanics for sure, and just need more time and experience on those. Maybe more solo queue comp time as well. Now, you know the importance of solo queue because you keep bringing it up. But from your
mhm.
understanding, what do you get out of solo queue that is so valuable? I'm curious.
More focus for sure,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Um, when I'm with friends, some of my friends, they're not as focused, right? So then that makes me not as focused, right? They're like they'll be chatting about other stuff, like, oh, I did this thing the other day. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to play the game here too. So it's definitely a little more like, okay, focus up, but I think it also takes more out of me mentally,
It does. Yeah. That's not a
you know.
surprise. Yeah. Okay.
So,
More experience reading situations and advantages, disadvantages until it is autopilot. What sort of situations? What sort of advantages, disadvantages?
mm, you know, I wrote that form like 8 weeks ago. I'm not exactly sure at this point.
Sure, fair enough. But I get the general idea itself. Sometimes I'll take a duel thinking I have. Well, here you go. You actually elaborate on it, and
Oh,
you
I
just
did?
read
Okay.
5 seconds later. Yeah, there you go. Sometimes I'll take a duel thinking I have CDs that I don't have, for example. Okay.
Yeah, that happens occasionally. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I thought I'd get alt, or I thought I would build alt, like with Doomfist, for example.
Yep.
Right, and
Okay.
then you're power blocking at 99% and like 5 health, right? And it's like, oh,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. I that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Playing around 5 days a week, 2 to 4 hours on those days usually. Is that still the case?
uh, on average, I guess, right? As a teacher, I get like, there's like, oh, it's time for grading, right? Got to grade all the papers, right? Or
Right,
last week
right.
was conferences, right? So it's up and down, right? But then I've got winter break coming up in another month and a half or so. So there'll be more time to play then, right? So
Right, exactly. Okay. Okay. And you said generally like 70-30 in terms of group versus solo.
I would think so. Trying
Okay.
to,
Fair enough.
on average, sure.
So it seems like you kind of at least have a general impression of some of the limitations of your schedules. You know, like optimally kind of what a training schedule for Overwatch would look like. but don't have the capability to really do that. So it's just kind of like knowing your shortcomings. I guess for me, more broadly, do you have any questions about general scheduling, training block, training habits, training hygiene? That if you have any questions regarding that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Are you confident in your whatever you're doing for warm up?
Yeah, so like that's the other thing, right? When I play solo queue, I'll do a few minutes of Vaxta. I know you've made some videos about like what to actually do on Tracer,
Mm-hmm.
especially like a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of tracking, some 180 practice, some stuff like that.
Yep.
Usually play like a DM and then Q comp, right? But see, again, my friends are like, oh, let's warm up with a quick play. Let's warm up with the Junkenstein's, lab thing. So it's a little, it's a little different, but social stuff and all
Yeah,
that. So
understandable. Okay, fair enough. I mean, again, I think for you, it's just like let's see what juice we can squeeze out of whatever you have right now, because obviously, like whatever your schedule's messy. A lot of it's playing with friends, but that's part of the fun. That's why we're here in the first place. So like, you don't want to necessarily compromise that. So let's put it this way: let's give you something to when you do train solo queue for you to fixate on. So when you do train solo queue, you have a warm up. When you do train solo queue, you have specific goals to work on. In the meantime, whatever, it's not going to be exactly
Sure.
the most smooth of improvement processes, but obviously like you're aware of that, and that's just kind of the choice that you're making. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like you're happy with where you are and you're happy taking your time, and it's nice having friends. So
Yeah, it is.
yeah. Okay, so one thing you mentioned earlier, I don't know if many of those questions have been answered, if you even remember them, but you said tracer micro and map specific questions answered.
Yeah.
Anything that comes to
So,
mind?
map specific. So one thing that is still bugging me with Tracer especially is maps that have, like I'll call it like pass through high grounds.
Mm-hmm.
So like Hollywood second, right? You can be in the saloon, you can be on top of the saloon, right? And sometimes like there'll be 3 enemies on top of the saloon, right? And I don't want to go up there on the elevator solo. And then I'm under the saloon, right? I'm on the clock, but I'm just like, ugh, like any one of them could just drop down behind me and like throw a flashbang or something, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess I'm just like, that's like something I'm still working out. Like, am I right to be paranoid about that? Should I fight for the high ground? Should I just say screw it? If they drop on me, then that's what happens, right?
Basically, your responsibility whenever you're playing, let's just say broadly escort and hybrid maps, because are you in
Yeah.
stream, by the way, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this
so-
is, yeah. You
so-
pulled up
so-
exactly what I'm talking about.
So basically, broadly, the problem here is like is even for the defender tracer, it's like I can't really angle on backline over here. But then obviously, if we flip the script and we go to attack, let's see if they play a tracer on attack here. I think they did. Maybe they didn't. If they didn't, nope. Yeah, they said they didn't. So, but yeah, the problem is obviously like, how do I play with all this verticality? Like, if I'm attacking as tracer here, what on earth do I do? Well, let's talk about the situations in which you do press high ground, okay? First, an obvious answer is you're not being contested. So if you're able to take here and take elevator and just nobody's really stopping you from doing that, then do it, right? That's going to be, I would say, the minority of situations. But if you do see that opportunity and there's just nobody distracted, or they're not even holding high ground, then for crying out loud, take it. Okay?
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
number one. That's the obvious answer, but just always keep that in the back of your brain. The more consistent and common thing, and I'm going to kind of play this out a little bit to kind of give you a good example of what I'm talking about here. Again, I'm kind of preaching about this from the side of Team Red here. If I'm Team Red here, retaking as blue, I don't need to worry about high ground if I'm on Team Red Tracer, okay? Because blue is retaking from low ground, okay? So you could just take this angle here. You can harass from here. You can harass from here. You can harass from here, okay? So again, if they're not on high ground or your high ground can't reach them, just use the low ground. Now, the final category, and obviously the most common and most difficult category is the one we're going to talk about here, which is what do you do when they're set up like this?
Yeah, well, it's that, and also like when like I could be in the saloon shooting like the tank that's contesting cart, like right where those barrels are,
Yep.
right? But there's like a pocketed cast on the high ground, and it's like at any moment this guy could roll off and like flash fan me, right?
I see what you're saying. Okay, so that clarifies things, because I'm about to tell you, well, then your best bet is to either just leverage cart or shoot whoever is on cart. But if that doesn't work for you, well, then we have a bit of a problem.
Right.
The solution is just understanding that that is always going to be the risk. There is no solution to that. There is no solution. But the good news is that anything that is taken to commit off of the high ground means that he can't get back. And now he's now isolated.
Right.
It's just risk versus reward. So if you're angling on that and you're like, I'm worried about them dropping on me, well, that's just the way it goes. Like, that's like saying I refuse to take a flank because there might be somebody there. Right? Well, that's the whole point, right? The whole point is to force a response and then live that response. And if you don't live that response, right? Yeah, I'm not, chastising you here, but like basically there isn't a good solution there. That's the only solution.
Yeah. This is me trying to apply like clock angling and like not get sandwiched, right? And it's like, I don't want this Cassidy to like, ooh, I hear Tracer under there. Let me roll off and like shoot her in the back.
Right. Well, okay. So let me pull out another term for you, a spilo term here, right? Sure. So you're avoiding, you don't want to get sandwiched, right? But as soon as that Cassidy attempts to sandwich you, you've created a Kevster principle situation, where it's now a 2 or a 3v1. And so all you need to do is live that engagement and reestablish your angle. You don't need to win the 1v1. You don't need to kill the Cassidy. You don't even need to take a duel with the Cassidy. You could just run away, reset, try again, right? You've already provided value with your action just by doing what you did there.
Okay.
Because somebody plays a lot of support. If you take the attention of DPS and force them to reposition to chase you, you've just taken immense pressure off of your tank and your support line. Immense. So for you, the biggest step needs to be take the angle, pressure, and then expect them to do something about it. Expect them to do something about it and just kind of be waiting for that response. It's not easy, but that's the solution.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, do you have any VODs with that example, like recently?
Well, I've got a Gibraltar to show you, but it's actually them not using the high ground. So
Okay.
I don't know if I have one of that, but
that's fine.
This Hollywood situation is exactly what gave me trouble. I don't know. It was a few weeks ago. I don't think I have the code anymore.
That's fine. It's probably an infrequent problem, but it is something to remember that Dorado, Gibraltar, Hollywood, I can vote. Wait for them to drop. Expect them to drop. When they do drop, then you can reposition and run away. I mean, the fact that they even drop usually means that you just now get the high ground for free.
Potentially, yeah. I guess there was just a moment where I'm just like, I'm running around like, chicken with head cut off, trying to stay on the clock on this saloon, and it just feels impossible. And I was like, I definitely need to go back and look at that, and let's ask Spilo about that one. Yeah.
Well, next time, if this happens again, I want you to screenshot it to me and send it to me in DMs. Yeah, and I'll take a look.
I have another screenshot of another Tracer micro position.
Do it up. Because just to wrap that up, just so we're clear, take the high ground if it's free, or if the angles in high ground are relatively good, right? If it's not free, you can leverage cart or play underneath to shoot from an angle. If they drop to pursue, you just have to be ready to live that, disengage, and reset and try again. Because just you forcing them to drop is immense value.
Okay.
It's not a good solution. That's easy win. But that's the limitations of not having verticality. So one thing that Tracer doesn't have.
So this one also might be more of a psychological thing I need to just get over. But I'll send you a screenshot of... I don't think I have the code for this one anymore either, because it was a while ago.
Let me pull this up here. Let me stop stream and restart stream here.
So the situation is I've been working on 180 blinks, dueling, that kind of stuff. But there'll be moments where it's like, if I 180 blink this guy, I've sandwiched myself.
Yeah.
And, maybe I'm not going to be in that position more than a second or two, but it's like that Ana could turn and nade me, right? Or maybe while she's nading the Torb that I'm dueling, I just get killed, right? And again, is that something I just need to get over? Or is that like, hey, just back up and don't take that fight?
Well, you tell me. What does your gut say? What do you feel like is the correct answer, or the correct? Because there's obviously always nuance in these answers, right? But like, what do you feel like is more often than not the correct play?
My gut says I'm not going to be there long enough for, the gambling odds will be I won't be in the sandwich long enough for it to matter.
Right.
Because as soon as the Torb looks at me, I will be blinking somewhere else.
That's correct.
But psychologically, it feels bad. You know what I mean?
Right. I understand that. And that's just going to be taking practice out of it. It's like the type of people that are going to like watch a lot of my videos and internalize a lot of my videos. They have to be very careful that they're able to not let it become a distraction. It's supposed to enable you to simplify your thought process, not overcomplicate. Because you're right. This is, if you blink through here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Can you see my mouse?
I don't.
Okay, whatever. So you can blink through here. You're gonna end up sandwiching yourself. That's the case. But like you said,
yes.
but like you said, you are. Okay, so are you in stream? I don't know if you can see my mouse here.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. You're going to sandwich yourself, but it's going to be for such a brief period of time, as you said, that's probably not worth considering yourself. You have to ask yourself, what's the lesser of two evils? Me standing directly in front of the Torbjorn and not blinking at all, or potentially sandwiching myself briefly? I mean, the answer is obvious, right? Now, you might educate yourself and be like, okay, in a different circumstance here, maybe if I have the opportunity to blink laterally to maintain the clock, I'll do that as well. But obviously, that's not really possible here, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. Your gut's right. Your gut's right.
Okay,
so you need to quote unquote get over it, right?
Yeah. Because I'm just thinking like, dueling Torb, he presses X, need healing. Ana looks over. Ooh, let me nade. Ooh, double nade, right?
Yeah.
It's like a possibility, I guess, but yeah, the only other
possibility
option here is to like fall back, right? And basically,
it's a possibility, but what's a guarantee is that he's going to shoot you in the head if you don't blink.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's really all the decision you have to make. There's always risk involved with every action in Overwatch. So you just have to choose what is either the less risky or the more reward-filled option. That's it. But yeah, this is a great question. This is a good question. It's not a dumb question. It's just, I think it's a good strategic question if you were to like psychoanalyze the game. But when it comes to just playing the game, it's really not that deep.
Yeah.
Blink to move. Stay in the angle whenever you can. Blink to move. That's it.
Okay.
Good question. Any other questions?
My one other Tracer question is, what would you say is the role of like strafing and crouch spamming on Tracer? Because I feel like when I play hit scan, my strafing's pretty good. When I play Tracer, I'm still at the stage where it's like I'm really thinking about the blinks, and I feel like my other movement is kind of not in sync just yet. And so it's like, should I be delay? Should I try to? How did I word this when I wrote it down? Should I be using that to stretch the time between blinks?
Yes.
Should I only be using that
absolutely
when I'm caught? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it. Stretching the time between blinks is really important, especially versus certain characters that you're confident in strafing, right? So like you have a lot more hit scan characters with smaller projectile sizes. You can get a lot more out of moving your hitbox and moving your hitbox side to side, obviously depending on how good you are actually at strafing.
Right.
So preserving your blinks to disengage, re-engage, chase, and pursue, and or, like you said, stretching out the time. So if you entered every fight with 4 blinks, you would probably never not have a lot less of a need to strafe, Mm-hmm. But you're not going to have that, so you need to be comfortable with strafing. And even if you did have 3 blinks, if you're expecting it to be an extended 1v1, it can be intelligent to throw in strafing in between blinks so that you're able to get not 3 blinks, not 4 blinks, but 5 blinks over the course of the 1v1, and maybe even 6, right?
Right.
But yeah, 100%.
Okay. Because I guess my other thing is, like, when I try to incorporate cover, then I feel like I need to blink out from cover. Otherwise, it'll be, their crosshair will just be...
Right. What cover allows you to do is it allows you to do 2 things. One, it allows you to basically reload for free, essentially. Mm-hmm. So like if you're choosing to like choose when I want to peek and like when I want to, and you basically get to reload for free. The other thing that it does for you, and this is important as a flanker, somebody who generally always has a superior, more distracting position, is it allows you to hold people's attention for longer.
Right.
So you want to go back to a 1v1 situation. If it's a 1v1, the longer it goes, it's not necessarily a good thing for you. Depends on the 1v1, but just win, right? Use your blinks, you hit your shots, win. But if we're talking Kevster principle here, like let's say that in this situation on our screen right now with this Torbjorn, right? You're not likely to immediately get the kill here, okay? Like let's say you don't have pulse bomb or whatever. So if you're really good with utilizing the cover inside and utilizing the cover down towards the staircase and so on, you can take this Kevster principle 2v1, 3v1, whatever, and draw it out for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 seconds. Through cover. And actually, coincidentally, strafing too. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's just basically about allowing yourself to hold your position for longer. And it wouldn't necessarily be like jiggle peeking corner, because like you said, you are going to get shot spammed on that corner. But what you can do is you can shoot, duck, wait for them to walk, blink out, shoot, duck, wait for them to walk forward, shoot, blink, duck. You get what I'm saying? So pay very close attention. And well, we can look at it in the replay as well. But yeah, it's just a way for you to find safe reloads, to bait attention for longer. And cover is also, if something goes poorly, cover is just a guaranteed way of resetting the fight. Trying again.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can't really jiggle peek on Tracer. You're doing
no, you
damage.
can't. Correct. You cannot jiggle peek it. You will always get your head blown off. Cover's more about reloads, baiting attention for longer, and or if things go poorly, disengaging. And you can use it to your advantage. For example, what I would do here is I would use this cover to make the Torbjorn want to close the distance with me. Do you understand? So I'm going to I have my stream thing turned back off. Let me try this again. Okay, so yeah, basically for the recording. You can basically use this cover to duck in, and Torbjorn either ignores you knowing that you're in the back of his head, which is really bad for him, right? Which means you could just shoot him in the back. Or he turns. But like, let's say if I'm Torb, I don't really have a whole big reason to close the distance that much in Tracer. I mean, he has a shotgun, yeah, but like I would prefer to play like here, just poke you out right or here. So now you're forcing him to walk in the room. So then now you can turn the corner and shoot him directly. But also when you blink, you're going to blink through him now. Yeah. Right? Whereas if you played here, like let's say right here, and didn't have cover, he could just stand here and shoot you for free, and you couldn't close the distance with a single blink. Cover also forces people, if they want to shoot you, to get closer to you.
Yeah.
That's often how cover works.
Yeah, so really the best thing to do in this duel would probably be to tuck back in and bait him in.
Tuck back in, bait him in. If he stands there and spams the corner, then yeah, it's a bit of a stalemate, right? But most people won't do that, and if he does that, you got to decide, am I happy with this trade? Is he also getting support attention? You got to kind of make your decision.
Right. Okay. Stuff to think about.
And if you remind me, we can look at it in the replay code as well and see when and where it applies. Gameplay?
Yeah, sure. So I was hoping to look at some Tracer and Doom. I don't know if we got time for that.
Yeah, we can make time.
Do you like Gibraltar or Shambali?
You tell me. I don't care.
I think we'll go with the Gibraltar.
Okay.
So I'll put... That should be the code in the Discord chat.
Gotcha. So this is a great example of, like we talked about, like high ground for Tracer here.
Yeah.
It's
Except
good.
they didn't fight me for the high ground on point 2 here.
Right, but we could talk about conceptually what would happen if you're... I mean, this is kind of it right now, right? I mean, what do you think is better? Should I off angle and pressure Widow, Soldier, Diva, or should I contest high ground here?
Well, I think the Widow's in my way.
Right.
So
Imagine that you could, with perfect scouting here, reset your angle and approach this from any angle that you want. What would you do?
If I could approach this from any angle, I would come from even farther to the right of the screen.
Okay.
Like here? Because any other position is like Widow sightlines.
Sure.
That's why I roll out this side.
I would edit here because this high ground is so basically free and uncontested. If you had the opportunity, like perfect scouting, I would double blink across here, frankly. I think this is probably the best angle that you could get because it is uncontested. You see what I'm saying? So think of it as like the Hollywood elevator is totally uncontested, right? And then the difference between this and elevator is you actually have cover on approach too. Go ahead.
I think that's usually my first plan, is that bridge, like contest that, clear that out. But I think I saw the Widow shot through the window.
Yes.
So.
See, that's the thing is like it's going to depend on the situation, right? So I think at least starting here gives you options, but most of the time there's going to be somebody in here poking you out, and it might be really difficult for you to approach this from there. So let's see what you do. This is fine. Yep.
And then now here's a little mid-fight scramble that I think a missed blink. I try to blink 180 because that's what I'm practicing, and then we do a little loop-de-loop.
Well, it's messy to say the least, right?
Yeah.
I think my main thing here is this sounds crazy for me to say, is I think man, I'm trying to think if there's a way to disengage here. Biggest thing here would just be to find where can I stabilize here. To be honest with you, this is probably not a problem you're going to be confronted with very often because this is pretty stark. There's not a lot here.
Yeah.
Most times you're going to have 3 blinks and you're going to have somewhere to go. You just unluckily don't have that place here.
Yeah.
Ironically, and I almost never say this, I actually think blinking back to your team and to here might be the play, but that's like, but that's almost never the play usually, right? Yeah. So I think here this is fine. It's fine.
But I've noticed as I watch these VODs, I've been working very hard on pre-fight setup. That's like what I spent like several months in the summer working on a lot of characters. But I found on Tracer the mid-fight scramble is sometimes happens.
Yeah.
It's more so than other characters, right? I feel like I'm juggling on Tracer, right? And like Ashe, that doesn't happen. Soj, that barely happens, right?
Well, great utility comes great responsibility, right? So, you have 3 blinks. There is just more to manage. Absolutely, it's fine. From here, I'd deepen your angle on the right instead of chasing a target, because if you think about where you're at from here, once you force a recall, the easiest immediate value is to continue to wrap this way and apply pressure from this way, just to continue your angle. Yeah, because obviously this fight has started pretty messy, but you can salvage it very easily. I think that might be something that we look for is like in these mid-fight chaos is like find a way to reestablish yourself on an angle just to simplify things, because it can get really stressful. I was about to chastise you for your pulse bomb, and then your Sigma Flux. I'm like, oh yeah.
I figured they're coming back. Let's just
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Good angle here. Top is free, so take top. If we're moving at 2 times speed, it's a good thing. Means there's nothing to say.
Go for the cut here.
There it is. Good stuff.
I've noticed as I watch some of these, my crosshair is a little low.
I
thought it would be higher after 2,600 hours on CS:GO, but I think I don't
know.
Well,
there's a lot more movement, right? There's a lot more movement. So with CS, it's just so much more static, right? So like it's pretty much you could just take your hand off of your mouse half the time with CS, right? And just move with your keyboard. But like here at this point, like there's a lot more up and down. I mean, there's even verticality in how you're moving, like drastically.
I think it's better on like hit scan characters though.
Because you're not moving as much.
Yeah.
You're not moving as much as well, right?
Yeah.
You're right, but you're also just not moving as much. This is really good, by the way. Nice little cut here. Cheating for the kill. Understandable. I don't think I saw enough to justify the cheat, to be honest with you.
I agree. I was working on the 180 blinks this game, right? So
yeah. So if that's the case, then sure, sure, because you're not gonna get 180 blinks here, right? See, this is the awkward thing with Tracer. If you're trying to sometimes brute force mechanics, it might put you in a situation where you do position poorly, right? Like this angle is really good, but you should just keep shooting. You're not gonna 180 blink a diva.
What do I do when the diva just like shoots me in the face there? Then I just have to back up.
Well, you tell me. Just hold the angle, back up.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to waste her time. You're going to take significantly less damage than she's going to take. So you're not really... it's not a 1-for-1. That's the thing. It's a 1-for-1.5. Because she's going to demand heal support. Because she's going to boost her. You're going to blink out this way. You're going to blink out this way. And you keep peppering and peppering and peppering and peppering and peppering and peppering and peppering. And if you play correctly, she should never kill you. Even if you guys are equally skilled. Never. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah,
So
I guess I just hate like blinking to retreat and then feeling like I need to blink back in to like get back into good damage range, and then it's like now if they turn on me again, I have 1 blink at best.
Well, where would you retreat to? How would you disengage right here?
Well, you showed the stairs, so that's one option. You could also just play Ring Around the Rosie on the boxes that are on the right side.
Sure could. This is the cover that we talked about, right? Where you're going to have to pull her to you if she wants to engage, and if she chooses to ignore you, like the Torb, then you go back and shoot her again.
Oh, you could even tuck around the little girder there to the door.
You could like make her commit a little bit more. Then she tucks in, and then you blink out behind her. You do your 180 blink practice this way. Yep, you got it. But yeah, the initial angle itself is fine. So.
Yeah, and then I think here.
So this is kind of what we saw earlier, right? Like you said, that mid-fight panic, right?
Yeah.
So the thing here is if you get stuck in the middle, just find cover, find a way to kind of stabilize here. I think this is where your 180 blinks are taking precedent over you living, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine for the sake of this round, right? Because this is what you were practicing. I don't care. But in going back and looking at feedback, just you've lived post recall. Your first priority is to disengage, and once again, crazily enough, it's probably to disengage back to team. Like it never happens, but like that's just what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
Because there isn't anywhere for you to disengage on the angle here. There's nowhere for you to go. Thankfully, that's rarely the case, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was kind of like brute forcing like 180 blink practice because honestly, before like the past few weeks, I was basically just not blinking in duels at all. Just like too much like soldier habits taking over and stuff.
Yeah. Well, if it makes it feel any better, your movement doesn't look bad considering your rank. It doesn't look bad. You're what, high plat with this, low diamond?
I think this is like a mid plat game.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's not great, but it's passable for your rank, right?
Yeah, and I know Tracer hours are like I added up. I've only got about 25 hours on Tracer. It's like just like season 12 and then 13.
Yep. By the way, uncontested high ground again, right? This is the Hollywood example. If it's free, it's free, you know? So just take it.
I wanted to recall to high ground.
Yeah, little detail here. I know you're in a bit of an urgency here, but this is probably where a rotation with one blink would serve you better.
Sure.
So rotate for one blink, then approach the duel from here. Not only is it easier to clip, but it's also easier to pulse bomb too. So you're on an angle, and then you kind of don't quite see it through. You get what I'm saying? Just a little bit deeper, and then you can literally just drop it down the well. You know, like you can just drop the pulse down. There you go. A little bit of movement. See, that's the cover we talked about. Check it out. You do it without even realizing it. Watch. You start to shoot. He looks at you. You're like, I don't really want to use my last blink here. You see it?
Yeah. Tuck and reload. Yeah.
Tuck and reload. And hey, we talked about strafing buying time for blinks. That's what cover does too. So you're back in now. And then now I want to see a blink from you. Or just more cover. That's fine too. I mean, it's still fine, right? Like you're still on the angle here, applying pressure. Probably worth the cheat. Yeah, I think that was reasonable. Didn't quite get it, but that's all right. That's silly. Didn't have the resources for that duel. Just keep running.
Yeah, I think I was trying to 180 blink and just not fast enough. But I shouldn't have even taken the duel.
Yeah. Again, I'm trying to think here.
That looks too far for a blink at this point.
Do you have a game where you weren't trying to practice anything? Or you were just playing?
Game where I wasn't.
If not, it's fine.
I don't think so. That's really what I've been really just working on that pretty hard.
Okay. I'm going to give you some feedback. I want you to have 10-15% of your games like that. Maybe an entire day where you just play to win.
Okay.
Where you play to win. Let me send you a very, very short video that you can watch in your own time. It's like 4 minutes long. That talks about why that's important. Basically, the point is that it gives you the chance to apply, to see if you can apply the skills while just playing to win. It allows you to kind of like reset, go again, reset, go again. I think the vast majority of playtime should be practicing, but give yourself a chance to quote unquote perform.
I think too many spinning plates on Tracer right now for me to do that. That's what it feels like. Like I've got games on Doom where I'm just playing, right?
Yeah.
Tracer, it's like so many things to think about.
Well, that's fine. Then I don't want any one thing to hold precedent over other things during those games. Just play, right? Just play. I mean, it's not like you're going to be able to play instinctually because you don't know the character well enough to do that. But you can just try to win a duel. You can just try to win the game or do a ton of damage, right? That's all. Throw that in occasionally. And if you were going to look at your own codes, look at those codes because that will give you a realistic representation of where you're at baseline. Because I can't really fault you for trying to practice a 180 blink here because you are really trying to force it, you know, like you're really trying to force a practice. And it's like the fight was lost anyway, so does it like matter all that much? Yeah, maybe not all that much. You can tell I can tell what's about to happen here. Like I can see the brain working here. You're going to shoot a couple bullets and then you blink through. And there it is, right? And you know what? That's good. That's very good. Congrats. Okay. That's exactly how you do it. You shoot a couple bullets, You have the drop on her. See, she doesn't know you're there. You do. So look at the crosshair placement now. It should be better from you, but she's a little off here, you see? And you're not. So you're already doing damage to her. So what you do is you shoot until her crosshair aligns to you, and you can start to feel it, okay? Watch when you blink. This is actually incredible. Check this out.
I think it would...
Watch this. Ready? Watch it from her perspective. You don't blink, you don't blink, you don't blink, you don't blink. Crosshair is now on you. You see it? And that's when you choose to blink. You see that? It's really good. That's really, really good. And so now...
5 damage taken.
Only 5 damage taken. Look at the difference, right? It's a difference of, 55 damage, right? So that's a big, big deal in Tracer Duel, right? Big deal. Big deal. And the funny thing is you're like, oh, well, I'm down a blink, right? Well, yeah, but she's going to have to panic blink as well because she knows she's losing it, right? So that was good. It's very good.
Yeah, she's in the scramble now.
Yeah, she's in the scramble. And so now she's in a situation now to where she's going to recall right into your lap. Good stuff. And all that from a 180 blink. And a good setup. And a good setup. And a good setup. I'll say the angle is good too. Rotate. Yep. Good adjustment onto the Life Weaver. Blink through. Blink through. There you go. Blink again. Lost him. That was funny. He must have moved. I think he must have dashed. Yeah, so he dashed at the same time. That's hilarious. That's actually really funny. But yeah, good stuff. This is the same problem where you didn't quite set up on as deep of an angle as I would have liked from here. So I would prefer you just to stay on top. You get me? Just stay on top. Keep shooting, keep shooting. And if you're going to wrap, where would you wrap as you guys back up? As you guys push forward, rather.
Through the ship, I suppose.
Through the ship. Yeah, exactly. Same kind of thing. Keep harassing from here. So you're here. So the problem is here is by dropping, you kind of have to use a blink to avoid sandwiching yourself. Do you see that?
Right.
So that's not the end of the world, but if you can avoid that, that's going to be helpful. So that then, when you do secure the kill on the Life Weaver, you have 2 or 3 blinks here instead of just 1.
Is that worth routing through the ship, even though I see my Reaper fighting right there?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Okay. There's no urgency with the cut. Remember being like, it's tiny bit later with Tracer's not a bad thing, especially when you have pole spawn.
Okay.
You know, there's not a sense of urgency because, like, even just peppering like shooting I say peppering, but you're doing full damage at this range, right? So pepper and then rotate from here, totally fine, totally fine. And then post recall, I know it's like, oh, I gotta get the kill, but then obviously like, it's not a bad idea for the pulse spawn, but again, it's not perfectly set up on that mid fight rotation. So, do you want to have better aim there? Do you want to move smoother? Do you want to hit the pulse bomb? Do you want to stage better? Those are 4 things that could have allowed you to win that. We're focusing on the rotation because that's something that we've seen that you could work on.
And that sort of leads to different outcomes for everything else. Right?
Correct. Exactly. But I'm not going to say that that's the only reason you didn't get the kill. Mechanics is the easiest way of getting that kill sooner. Hitting the pulse on an easier way. Being a little bit smoother with your blink movement is also an easy way that you can be working on. But because it's thematic to what we've talked about already, we're going to bring it up. Sure. See, this is kind of... Yeah, I mean, see, this is kind of what I wanted you doing earlier. I mean, you see it right there. I mean, it's like an ungodly amount of damage right there. And this is crazy. But this kind of goes into where, like, you don't actually have to even engage the soldier from here. You could do the exact same thing we talked about earlier and wrap this in. And even if the Life Weaver isn't here, you can still then drop and take... I'm happier to shoot the Tracer in the back than have to double or triple blink to engage a soldier across like this. Right? Make sense?
Yeah.
I like this approach. So despite being really low, I mean, let's cook this mechanically here. So despite actually being at a significant HP disadvantage, your first response here, let's watch.
Well, I saw no mega, so I'm like, okay.
And she's already clipping. I mean, look at this. This is a great screenshot for you, right? This is your practice paying off. You get me? Like, she looks like an idiot. So you get a full clip on her, and so she drags, but she's out of bullets, so you don't even need to blink right now. So then you, once again, and again, another great... Another
The
great
180s
picture.
pay off. I don't know.
The 180s pay off, right? There you go. Even in the tracer mirror. It's good stuff. Nice. And this is where I really want you to wrap. I really, 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 really want you to wrap. So even if you don't get the kill, you can pull attention. I mean, I guess this fight's pretty much lost, but like in theory, in theory, if there is anybody alive here, pulling them this way would be huge.
No, I just hang out on top of the ship for like 30 seconds while the team resets here.
I mean, it's the right play. It's the right play.
And I missed that jump like an idiot, but that's okay.
Do idiots miss jumps? Not familiar with their game.
Occasionally.
I guess it depends on the idiot.
And so yeah, we're just looking, just waiting, watching team through walls.
Yep, this is fine.
Still waiting. Fighting's not happening. Annoying Moira orbs.
Mm-hmm. And now we go. Again, this poor tracer. A little bit of trigger discipline. You know the term. You know how it looks. Just something to keep in mind, especially with the more mobile heroes. Genji's, Tracers, Sombras. Yep, there you go. There you go. I mean, this is honest Overwatch, right? This is maybe the most honest Overwatch we've seen from you yet. Really, really nice setup, playing your range, not even dropping off of high ground until you feel the need to because everything's too far away. You rotate out left. You pull the Divas boosters away from the BAP window. Can we just admire this, right? So then Divas boosters pulls you away. You're going to 180 blink through the Diva. You're going to go directly on the Moira. Maybe a little bit silly, messy-wise there, but hey, we'll go for it. You go after the Moira, who you've seen use Pulse Bomb, or well, Moira's used Pulse Bomb. Moira's used Fade, and we finish her off. I mean, this is just a deadlift from you, really. Like, this is such a clean fight from you. Good setup, good rotation, deepening your angle, not forcing target priority, seeing opportunities to just kind of cheat to finish a kill once you see somebody use a CD, and they're cooking. That's it. It's good stuff. So this is the tricky part. What do you do here? This is important. When you don't, like, you can't, like, rotate perfectly here without using blinks to set up an angle. You're going to have to do something. So what do you got?
You mean at this moment or in this point?
At this exact moment. This exact moment.
Ideally, what should I do? Well, I don't. So the thing is, I think in the moment, I didn't know Tracer and Moira had respawned back there. So I'm thinking, okay, it's like 2v5. Let's kill these guys. But thinking about proximity and convenience, right? Maybe shoving out the Tracer and Moira that's closer.
Sure, but are you on an angle to do that without sandwiching yourself? You kind of see what I'm saying?
No, it's very open there.
So I want you to stick with your gut instinct and your gut target priority that you're going for right now. The question is how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you put pressure from behind? How do you put pressure from our left here? And this, to me, is going to be the solution for your problem with mid-fight rotations.
How do I put pressure from behind?
Because you don't have the angle for it right now, right? And you couldn't have the angle for it. It's impossible. Like you just came.
So I need to get into the mega room.
Okay, so you're saying get into over here.
Yeah, I think that would be a good start.
This is a good start. I agree with you. But there's one step better. It's going to be a bit more risk, but there's a bit more reward. I want you to use 1, 2 blinks to get to this corner.
Okay.
And then from here, pressure and respond appropriately. Now, we're going to ignore the soldier pincer that eventually will be here just for the sake of the argument for right now. It would still be useful. The reason why this works is because you don't have the angle for it. So you have to use resources to set up an angle. But that means that you don't have 3 blinks here anymore. So then how do you treat this duel? If you don't have blinks anymore, how do you play this duel?
I think I need to be patient and let my
be patient. Do you remember your question about cover earlier? This is where we answer that question.
Okay.
Where your job is to double blink and obviously respond, peek, see what happens. But if they give you attention, you just LOS and you're patient. And you pull their attention through setting up. And what this does is this allows you to be, when you do want to do damage, you're in the perfect position to do so.
So this is like the drive-by on Diva that you talk about.
It's the drive-by. It's basically saying, I don't have an angle now. So instead of just blinking in and chasing a target, I'm instead going to use my blinks to set up an angle with cover. And then take what it's available. So if we actually go all the way back here, and I want you to, because this is probably the clearest example that we've had just yet, but I want you to try and apply it from not this fight, but this fight here. This fight here. All right. So this fight here, you're coming back from spawn, we clear everything out, and kind of we're in a similar situation where after we clear out this tracer, we don't really have the angle that we want, okay? So you don't have the angle that you want. Let's say this plane doesn't exist. It's just there's a bomb, right? Okay, what do you do from here, right? Because you don't have the angle that you want here. So where do you go?
So if we're applying the drive-by concept, perhaps, and I can't stay on high ground either, right?
Nope, not allowed to stay on high ground. The bomb has exploded.
Okay.
Where do you
go? Double blink to that yellow box.
You got it. That's it. That's it.
Play the cover there.
So your job is when I'm trying to find these mid-fight rotations, I'm going to double blink onto an angle with cover.
Right.
Double blink to an angle with cover. All right. I don't know. I might be opening myself up to humiliation here because I actually don't know if this is the case. But let's try and look at first fight and see if there was a similar solution here. Okay, so, you actually kind of try to do this. Because you see where you try to rotate to? You try to get to cover. The problem was that there was somebody there. So you're instinctually trying to apply this concept here. Because if you were able to get here and get here, this would be perfect. You could then just chill, see if the soldier chases, and if he doesn't chase, then apply pressure. You got me? Mm-hmm. So you are doing it. It's just not as consistent as we would like. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, if you don't have an angle, use your blinks to take an angle. That's the rule. That's the rule. You talked about how hard you've been hustling on your setups, and it shows. But what if you don't have time for a setup?
Yeah.
What if you don't have time for a setup? So let's see what you do. You see, this is what I don't want.
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly, if this was not a Weaver, I probably wouldn't do this.
Right. Because what's going to happen is as you get forced out, you get recalled back into your backline. That's the other problem too, right? And so now we've not really made any progress. Now, obviously, you wouldn't have been able to stay here, given the power of hindsight. But
I also thought 3 would be respawning there. I did not see the Tracer and Moira, and this is just dumb. This might be. I thought I had recall. I don't have an explanation for this one. I think I blinked in like, oh, I'm gonna take this duel with blinks, and then I was like, wait, I don't have recall. Wait, I'm doing nothing. I'm dead.
Well, yeah, and also it feels like you're winning this one mechanically as well, because you are. I actually think you got shot from the side.
Perhaps, yeah.
I'm pretty sure you got shot from the side. Maybe not.
The D.Va, maybe?
I mean, the D.Va is definitely shooting you a little bit, but I actually think she actually hit some shots as well, surprisingly. Wait a second. Did you see this? Oh, no. I thought she tried to pulse bomb you. Okay, never mind. That was like half a second later. I was going to laugh. So this is kind of one of those situations here. Like, let's say like if you let's say your team is here, right? Where would you go?
If we're like all alive, like where
yeah,
Reaper
yeah. Reaper's here,
fighting.
Sigma's here. Like you don't have time to set up here. You need to. Here's what we'll do. We'll not call it cheating. We'll call it cheat an angle. Cheat an angle.
Okay.
How do you cheat an angle here?
You could double blink to like the stairs area.
Yeah, like somewhere over here, right? Somewhere here or somewhere here, right?
Yeah, like there.
Yeah.
I was first thinking mega room, but I'm like, well, there's no retreat there. So the stairs
exactly.
is nicer. If
yeah,
like a generator there, I don't know what that is.
I have no idea. But yeah, you got it. You got it.
I've got more retreat if they want to chase me. I have somewhere to go.
That's it. So cheat an angle here. See, now here you're being a little bit more patient because you've had more time to set up. You notice that? Mm-hmm. So it's been more like, okay, so this is the big difference here, okay? Because to be honest with you, I haven't coached this concept very often because I don't get asked this question very often. So the idea is that setup is usually a rotation, okay?
Okay.
Cheating an angle is usually just honestly a straight beeline, right? It's a laser.
Yeah.
Right? So you can look at how your setup here. See how it's almost circular? Right? It starts here, it goes here, it goes here, it goes here, and then it goes here, and then it ends up here, right? But if you don't have the time to do that, it's just gonna cut straight to the quick. Right? It's not optimal, but that's kind of like what we're looking for. We're skipping steps, but we're still trying to set up an angle. as opposed to double blinking directly at the Life Weaver, right? That's the thing. So we're prioritizing the position over the angle, or over the target, excuse me. See, this is fine. Notice that you kind of cut the angle here, right? You're like, well, I'm looking at a wall here, so blink 1, blink 2, I improve my angle immediately. This is very good. Sure. Back onto a more conservative angle, but at least I have cover. Yeah, this is okay. This is okay. This is all right.
Last
this
fight
is
was a mess here. But...
Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. I think even the post one there was pretty reasonable here. Let's watch a little bit more before we take a look at some Doom. That'll work for you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Shoot. Shoot. I mean, you could just see this is just so bad for them. Like, I mean, look at the Diva's HP. Like, even if you're like, oh, I got my recall force, but she's 175 HP.
I think she gets away.
Yeah. But playing the odds here, you know, part of it, I think your Drunken got double headshot. I'm not gonna lie. That's my prediction anyway. Let's find out. Wait. Okay, never mind. She just took damage from Soldier as well. Sure. I probably would go back top here. Yeah, this is too short of it, too nasty of an angle. Just go back top, because like you're like, oh, not my Junker Queen. Yeah, but look who's here, right? Even if she wasn't here, this is going to be your best staging ground for harassing and honestly make the Diva chase you again. Okay. Yeah, so good setup. Good setup.
Diva there, I was like, oh, she might still be low. It is plat.
And then you did the most plat thing ever. Is the irony.
That's true.
Good. It's fine. A little far from Soldier. I know you're aware of the Widow here. I like this rotation. Yep. Yep, it's fine.
It's like, get her out. Don't worry about her.
Yep, good stuff. Yep, and then you can just, because she's so far out, now you can just sit there and shoot people in the back and not really care. This is good. You see, you did it again. Watch. You drop to finish a kill, fine. No. This is good. So the question here, is it better to cut or is it better to rotate? Because the rotate would have been shoot the Weaver without dropping, right? Then what do you do? Then go to server room, right? You drop to secure the kill. I don't hate it. But you know what she did? You cut. Bam, bam, to an angle. You see that? Mm-hmm. This is good. Is it optimal? I don't know. I don't really care. It's good.
It's better than being in front of the Diva.
That's it. That's it, exactly. Now let's ask you another question. What if I asked you to kill the Juno? How would you approach this Juno fight from here?
From already on the floor?
Yeah, you're already on the floor. You got 3 blinks. What do you do?
And everything else is the same.
Everything else is the same.
I would probably... You see that little exposed crack of the doorway?
Like right here?
Blink in there, and I'm on 90 degrees. She's healing Diva.
Yeah.
I think that's enough to get started.
Sure. But this is where you could start to apply that laser, that cut, right? Where you go, you're not just blinking in to kill the Juno necessarily. I know it's Juno, right? But you're blinking in, and then your next blink, you already know where you're going, right? It's here. Yeah, so you're kind of thinking ahead. Like, I want to kill the Juno, but I'm not just going to blink and shoot her in the face necessarily. I'm going to blink to set up an angle, just cheat the angle now, because I've dropped to where I can't rotate anymore. Mm-hmm. This is a cut followed by a rotation. And it's good. It's really good. You did a good job. You needed to do one or the other. You either stick to here, there you go, or you need to rotate. You got to commit.
Yeah, a little slow on this one.
That's okay. Good use of target priority here. I love the, oh, she's too far away, pivot the Diva, oh wait, Life Weaver's closer, and then because your setup is so good, and your timing is so good, this Life Weaver's dead. I like this rotation. You could have shot Diva there, but you're like, oh, I have an easy rotation on Juno, so you know what, you should take it. I'm annoyed on your behalf that you're losing these fights, because I think you've played this fight almost perfectly from a positional standpoint. You should feel really good about it.
Okay, well that's good to hear.
And I don't even think you necessarily need me to tell you that, because you could feel the impact, right? You feel it. Like you basically, so you solo kill Life Weaver, you almost demech Diva, you should have killed Juno, and then you almost killed Soldier. And even now, like, you're giving your team a chance to recontest because this angle is getting so much help and it doesn't matter. Look at this. This is good. Now, I want you to coach your micro here, and we'll wrap up with this, all right?
Sure.
Because this is a 1v1 that you need to kill. If you guys are going to win this, you need to kill this. So. There's the cover. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me pause when you want to pause, all right?
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Be creative.
Be creative.
Whenever you're not sure, ask yourself,
Yeah.
should I have blinked here? And if so, where?
I don't know.
Does this help? Does this help?
Maybe, but part of me is like, I've got the health advantage, and if she's just gonna stand there and shoot me, I'll just stand there and shoot her, right?
Okay. So this is when I need you to taste some blood. Okay, this is where I need you to taste some blood because you're being too analytical about this. She's 45 HP. Please kill her now, right now. She needs. I want now. I want one blink in, and I need recall right now. Don't be honest about this. You taste blood.
So
finish it.
You would just blink.
Blink in.
To her right, my
just,
left.
I might even just blink in, right? I might blink after the whatever. I want her dead now. I have an advantage. I need to force the advantage right now. So the quote-unquote problem here is that you got her low and you didn't finish the kill. And so then the pocket shows up. You kind of see what I'm saying? And so now we're back to an honest 1v1. So now I'm going to have you resume. Here we go.
Oh, there's the 180 blink.
Yeah.
Little trigger discipline there.
Trigger discipline, right? That's the big thing with the 180 blink. It's going to take time for you to move your crosshair. That's okay. Just don't slow that process by trying to shoot in the meantime. That's the advantage that you have, right? Is that you know it's coming. So just take the time.
Tried to do... Oh, okay, so now I know she's recalling. I steal the mega here, I believe.
One more tiny detail I want to throw in here as well. This is too low of an HP recall. I think here I'd throw in certainly trigger discipline, but also maybe even reload and then throw in one more blink, pepper, and then recall. Just squeeze out as much HP as you can.
You mean too high of an HP recall?
Yes.
I was at 65, so...
Yeah, you only took a little bit of damage from the tracer, right? Because this is a 1v1, because you're recalling back to 88 HP. Right, so you're not even recalling back to a significantly higher HP.
Yeah, I think the tracer duels definitely, the tracer mirror, it definitely sketches me out still. Because I think when I blink against anyone else, I'm like, well, I know where they are for the most part.
Yeah.
But if they match blinks, then it's like, well, we're both looking for each other. And that's, a little while ago you said you would blink in and just like try to kill her. My fear, which is a lack of skill, is if I blink out of a good position to try to finish, she might blink and then get the advantage on me, and then like I'm dead.
Sure. It was a calculated risk, right? It's always a calculated risk. And if it makes you feel any better, I think you've done fine in the tracer mirror so far. I think you've done fine. You just need, if you're not confident in your skill, then you just need to practice it more, right? You need to not avoid those matchups, right? So basically the idea is make her move her crosshair, trigger discipline, and then press your advantages and kite your disadvantages. I think you've played pretty well with cover, but I think you've missed opportunities to abuse your advantage more. Lots of little details. I mean, we're playing a very micro-intensive character. Let's write some notes, and then let's take a quick look at some Doomfist here. So Tracer, what needs to be improved? Give me a handful of things. Obviously, we've talked. So the tricky thing with our session is we've talked a lot about theory, but we have to actually pull something very specific away from this. What's specific?
If there's no time to set up an angle through honest walking, look to cheat an angle with cover.
Look to cheat onto an angle with cover.
Or mid-fight, like a mid-fight rotation.
Okay. What about mechanical stuff?
Some trigger discipline to look at still.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. What else?
Look to push an advantage, even if I think it's risky, to push myself mechanically. That's kind of what we were just talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of playing it safe there, but like a better tracer won't let the other one have a chance to recover, right?
think about what you were doing when you were practicing your 180 blinks, so you're forcing yourself into not optimal duels. Mm-hmm. And my criticism was that, like, it's fine that you're practicing that, but obviously, like, there weren't really advantages to press there. Think back to the Life Weaver on second point defense, right? Like, you're blinking in like as if he's one, right? But if he was one, you need to press those, right? Okay. Keep practicing with blinks, but noticeable progress. I think overall, like, you definitely could see how many times it was playing out well.
Yeah.
And then as questions come up, just message me. Go ahead.
Oh, I think I had one other thing, which was the situation where you said you'd fully wrap through the ship. I don't know what you'd call that, but taking the time to set up the 180 angle rather than dropping for the sooner value.
It's the contrast to the first point is what it is. Instead of cheating an angle or cheating a target, if you do have time to rotate.
Okay.
Right? I don't even think it had specifically to do with high ground. I think it was more like, I need to be doing something right now. And reality is, like, you just could take literally 1 second to rotate and you would have been fine.
Okay.
And obviously, if you do commit, make sure that you're committing to an angle, not a target, usually. Try to blink through to a corner, right, so that you can maintain attention without dying for it.
Right.
Lots of esoteric principles here, but your challenge is going to be to, like, actually take this stuff and practice it. The good news is that out of the thing that you have practiced, which is the 180 blinks specifically, and to a lesser extent your setups, it's pretty solid, right? Like, pretty solid. Like, I think they're definitely your strong points. Your initial setups and your 180 blinks initially, pretty good. 180 blinks, a little bit less so, but that's just because that is something that is very hard to maintain focus on continually. Anything mechanical is. But your initial setups, quite good.
And I think, I see you have the stream up waiting for a Doomfist code.
I am waiting for a Doomfist code. Any questions before we do that, though?
I don't think so. The ones I asked even before we looked at the VOD were my big ones.
Okay.
Here's a quick one, which I think you're going to probably say yes to. But this is just like a frustration, I guess, of team games sometimes. If I duel and kill an enemy tracer on the flank, and then my team gets wiped in the 4v4, is that just like, did my job, got mine? Is that what how to think about that? Or
yeah. Well, I mean, you know the answer, right? You set up, you apply pressure. If your team dies as you're applying a pressure, either you're misreading the situation, and it wasn't as simple as that, or you did your job and your team sucks. GG's, go next. Or sometimes both.
Okay, so here's the Doom. So I've been working, actually, I think I've been working on the same kind of stuff. Improve your positioning, right? The mid-fight, where's my next short angle? Mm-hmm. That's something I've been working on with Doom. Also, doing nothing at times. Like, just holding a choke, waiting for backline to, like, walk forward so I can drop punch. I mean, that...
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, teammates just, like, die in the poke phase, and it's like, well, that's,
Yep.
I've been working on... I just started working on buffering shots after abilities.
Okay. That's a very niche one, but it's a sexy one, so yeah.
Something that I know I have not put much thought into is ultimate. So
Okay.
I mean,
good to know.
Like, I'll be like, okay, I can do more with ult, but I feel like it's very instinct, like, oh, just keep going, right? And sometimes it's like, oh, my team has died and I meteor struck, and now, like, I guess I'll just pull out with it.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, we'll take a look. I like the setup here. And this is like a great example of where, like, I think applying a little bit of pressure here is fine. I don't even mind you closing the angle all the way to here. But once you're here, there's really no real reason for you to pick any sort of initiative in here. And this kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, where it's like the poke phase. Like, if this Hanzo hits a headshot here, GG's, like, GG's. Yeah. Like, you can't, like, they have not taken any space. They have not applied pressure beyond the occasional RNG dice roll with a one-shot character across the map, So you committing cooldowns too early would give them windows for them to walk out for free. And that's what you just can. It's not that, oh, be a good teammate, be patient. It's that you cannot let them walk out of this choke for free. That's why we're telling you to wait. So
was it a mistake to slam to this angle?
No,
or no?
No,
okay.
Because what you did is you did pressure, but then use it to reposition to a better angle for you.
Yeah.
This is a very high risk angle, but it's also a very high reward angle. I have no criticisms.
Okay. Well, you're about to, because this is I'm like, oh, let me go in, and then I'm like, surely Mei will wall and I can get out, and then she
Well,
walls way later.
This is just a horrific mechanical failure from you.
Yes.
You'd cancel your punch here in accident. That's the problem. Or you didn't. That's it. I don't know if that was like a jump or what, but you canceled your punch. I think tapping punch here just to knock them back, and then I mean you should never left the door frame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
No,
that's pretty much what it is. So it's like it's whatever. Like it honestly, like it really is whatever. It's what happens. Go next.
But that's what I mean about being patient when I said I'm working on that.
Yeah.
I mean, this VOD back, and I'm like, there was no need to do anything there.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was, like I said, it was also partly mechanical failure. I mean, they were looking to push you out of that angle, so you do need to hit that tap punch without killing it halfway through, so. Now, this is where Doomfist gets weird, okay? I respect the crap out of your supports for following you here. I'm glad to see that. But if they don't, it's fine to go with your team, rotate with your team, and then take like a last second split. Or heck, even do the tracer thing. Okay, this is where you can tie the two together. Walk with your team on main and use your ability to set up an angle mid-fight. Like here, slam top, mid-fight.
Yeah.
So don't rotate, cut. You get what I'm saying? The danger with doing this is twofold. First off, that you get super out of sync with your team because things get super messy. And number two, any chip damage that you take doesn't get healed. Remember, with Doom, you're just looking for a mid-fight short angle. You don't necessarily need a flank.
Okay.
You have enough frontline presence. You also have the capability of just cheating angles. Like the difference between you and Tracer is Tracer can't just go like, I'm gonna go there. You know how like she can't do that, right? So you can. So there's less punishment for you not rotating. You could just play with your team and then quickly take an angle in the time the fight's starting. This works because your team plays around it. But like for example, even here, because you are so freaking far from your team, you probably don't know that there's somebody in your team not engaged. And that's your Widow. Your Widow's actually totally out of the fight, and your Ashe actually is too. So while this is all checking the boxes, you're just a little isolated.
But hey, we're using cover.
We are using cover, that's right. This is fine. I think if you want to get really spicy with this, how could you have slammed from here? Create some space. Create some space.
Could have behind the Moira.
Yeah, you could. You could. That's a little deep, but I think you could even like look to slam here, hold your block, use this cover from here, and this is when we start to flank. It's kind of like the mid-fight flank, right?
Yeah, I guess that makes me worried about the chip damage again, though.
True. That's fair. It's kind of always that's kind of always the judgment that you have to make, though. That's why I want to go mid-fight. That's why I want to use the cover here, right? And immediately slam tuck and then block and then see what I can get from there, right? But yeah, you're definitely recognizing that. Now apply that on your hard, crazy early fight rotations, okay? This character's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I don't
really like tank, but I like Doom, you know?
I had a very silly question the other day from my Twitch chat. They're like, why do so many people like Doomfist? Why do so many players one-trick Doomfist? I'm like, is that a trick question? Or like, I don't play that much Doomfist, but I get it, you know? Like, I get it.
Well,
it's the same thing with Lucio.
I didn't even play DPS Doom. I hated that character. But
yeah,
I don't want to play only one role, and Doom is like a tank. You can
kind
of one-trick, so...
Sure.
And
so this...
fun.
So this is where everyone's going to be like, you've watched too many Spylo videos, right? So where should you be? I don't hate this, especially because you have ultimate, okay? But let's pretend that you didn't have ultimate. Where should you be?
I could just be stuffing the choke with...
Freaking stuffing the choke. Yeah. Holding here. This is an angle. Right? It is an angle. Look at your team, right? So I don't hate this because you have ultimate. So higher risk, higher reward is totally fine. You're also, because it's so quick, you're not likely to get chipped too much. But just again, it's the consistent theme. And here is just a bit of sandwiching. I don't think you realized it, but you're kind of getting pincered from both ends here, and then you're getting shot in the back, and it's just kind of a mess. Yeah. So from here, probably this also goes back to even not stuffing the choke, right? So you're not getting your chip damage healed. So your chip damage doesn't get healed, so then you're still not full HP, and it's just a bit of a mess. And not to be that guy, it's not all about frontline presence, but you see what I'm saying?
but I should
Like,
do some frontline presence.
if the angle's good for it, right? If the angle's
Yeah.
good for it, and it is good for it, because this should never happen. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
This guy should be like, they should be, scraping his insides off the side of the wall, right? Like, that's it.
So I'm too angle pilled on Doom right now.
No, you're too flank pilled.
Okay.
You're too flank pilled, because the whole concept of why you're able to win choke trades is because you could do goofy crap like this. Like if an Orisa Ryan held here, it could work, but they could also just die. Like if they mess up, they die. You mess up, you just use a cooldown and get out. You're fine. And also, if I'm looking here, do I look at the Widow or do I look at the Doomfist here? Or do I look at the Ashe Lucio? Or do they look here or do they look here? Right? I mean, think about what you were doing earlier, right? When they wanted to walk out the choke and then you were holding from here, right? That was really good. You messed it up, but it was really good. And I don't want to discourage you entirely from flanks, especially if you have ultimate. Like, honestly, ironically, I'm like kind of hindsighting myself. I'm like, man, maybe you should just stay in the flank and use ult. I don't know. But yeah. I assume you're just trying to force fade without... Yeah, I gotcha. Good. Oh, nice shot. That was pretty reasonable. I mean, all things considering, like you landed it on a decent target. The only thing I'd say to like add a bit of nuance to your ultimate usage is don't just consider target, consider position. So like, is this really where you want to be in this fight, right? So I don't hate Moira as a whole. Like you could force fade and get the kill, but like I think I'd prefer to be here because I'm on the clock, right?
Right.
Or, here, because I'm on the clock. I can land in junk and I can approach from here. So ultimately, it's not so much that you sandwich yourself because nobody can really see you. It's just that you don't really have the opportunity to continue to leverage your angle pressure immediately.
Yeah, and see, this is what I said a while. I was like, I know I haven't thought too much about ultimate.
Yeah, it's just a small detail. So like ult the angle, ult the person on the angle is like the way to look at it. Okay, you guys should win this. Good.
I think we do.
Yeah. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, right? Like you can dance around here and like that, even that, right? He's hiding from your Ashe, and then you slam him behind a wall and he dies. It's just like, you even shoot him behind a wall too, right? So it's like that. There's your angle, right? Doom is just Winston doesn't have the capability to do this. He doesn't have the capability of quickly reposition as frequently, and he doesn't have even the favorable tank trade that you can eat. Like you could sit here and the Orisa tries to push you and you just force fortify just by you being here, right? Winston can't do that. Just something to remember. Let's finish out this round. That work for you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, you are so ready for it, man. You got to be really careful because one of the other things too as well is like the more you're flanking, the worse your timing has been getting as well. I know that you probably weren't seriously thinking about committing here, but obviously like it is costing you a ton of resources in your HP as well, and it's not costing them quite as much, right? Now you play it well mechanically, but I mean don't tell me that this is the position you'd love to see yourself in, right? Like they've got full cooldowns, full HP, and you're currently missing a few. Just be careful. Just be careful. So if we were to correct this, okay, so you're here. What would you do? What would you position? Let's say that they have like, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they all rotated up here. Okay, so how do you hold?
If they all rotate to the right room?
Anywhere through here or here. Yeah, wherever. Sure. What do you do?
See, this is maybe part of my bigger issue is I hate these flashpoint maps, and I feel like there's no... it's like everything's everywhere. So if they're all coming on that right side, could potentially use the tank on the left as some cover and like
you got it.
Drop down and come around behind them as...
You see, it's funny. It's like that's all fine, but you don't even need to be that creative. I mean, you have ult, so you can legit just stand here. They're walking into double sniper Juno Lucio spam, okay?
Yeah.
If they turn their cameras and look to here, they will die. The Orisa will for sure, but they will die. Because they are playing directly in front of this, and you will not. Because you will punch, you'll hit everybody that walks out of the choke, or you will slam, and you'll hit everybody that walks out of the choke, and then you either punch or slam disengage. And yeah, you let them out of the choke, congrats, but they bled for that one. And then you rinse and repeat, you do it again. So your angle here is holding the choke at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff that brawl tanks do. Well, guess what? You can do that. That's what Doomfist does. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, if that choke doesn't provide the angle, like let's say this was a big open space, and yeah, you'd have to get kind of silly with it. But you don't have to be quite as like, I have to flank. Oh my gosh, that is just... Wait. I get my dopamine of the day. Sorry.
It's a juicer.
It's been a long day here. We got to get the... I mean, this is where you just close your eyes. We talk about like ulting a position. Who the frick cares? There's 4 people here. Nobody cares. It's just too good. That was excellent. That is indeed a juicer. Okay. And I'm waiting for... Yeah, definitely farm your punch off that. It's the same kind of thing. Like you're just not playing where your team can help you. You know, like you're not even on a flank. Now you're ironically frontlining way outside your team's LOS, and like obviously like, oh, look at that damage. I'm farming that stat, right? But the fear is that if you do that, you either die or maybe you miss the window to set up to actually punish when they walk in the choke. Just like we talked about first fight, right? You put too much early pressure, you're also late. And let's say right now, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, bam, 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 bam. I respect this, because if you're gonna flank, you know, I guess this is how you do it. But you don't have to do this. You don't have to do it. You can approach front line from an angle. It's either side angle, it's either back angle or front angle. It just needs to be an angle. That's it.
Yeah, and
So even
part of it is
look. Watch. Right. Look at this. Slam shot, bait javelin, duck the cover. She's looking at you, but she walks in front of your widow. If she pushes you with spin, you punch her. If she pushes you to fortify, you power block and walk away. I'm gonna stop there, but I'm gonna send you a VOD I want you to watch, which goes quite in detail on this, and has a lot more examples, especially even with more with verticality. I think this is the one. Is it the Numbani one? Yeah, this is the one. So, here's what I want you to practice. Check team positioning. Set up flank angle or frontline angle. Focus on ulting position when no good target. And position can still be a target, but like you prefer, like I prefer the guy in high ground, or I prefer the guy in the angle instead. That's kind of what we're looking for. Okay. Do you have any questions?
Let me look at my Doomfist questions, see if I have. No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think the Doom. Yeah, maybe it's too many. You said it's too many flanks, not enough just angles.
Yes.
Flanks that isolate me are a problem.
The flanks that isolate you are a problem because sometimes you're showing up late to the party, or you're taking chip damage that's not easily healed up. Does that make sense? It's not that going for backline is bad just because it's bad. Of course, it's if you could teleport onto backline every time you do it. But the problem is that sometimes you're messing up your windows of synchronizing your pressure with your team, and so you're getting forced out early, or you're showing up late. And then if you get chipped, things get awkward.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the key thing is there's one dive tank that always flanks, and it's Wrecking Ball. Almost always flanks. The reason is because he doesn't worry about those two things. He's faster than any other tank, so timing is never a problem. It's always easy for him to be on time. There's really almost no excuse for him not to be on time from a flank, right? The second thing is that Ball just is so fast, doesn't have a head box, and has shields, so he never worries about getting chipped down while he's getting set up. You have basically half of his health pool post shields, right? So getting chipped down is a lot more important for you than it is for him. So you still angle, and you still might flank, depending on the situation. But you don't have to force if the situation doesn't provoke. And like I said, if you do have the time, you can skip the discussion, but skip to the gameplay, and that code I linked, or VOD I linked, and it's Doomfist made easy. It's gonna provide a little bit more elaboration on what we talked about.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. I want you to practice this stuff